The story begins with Superman lying helpless in Antarctica, bleeding and barely breathing after a brutal battle. A snowstorm approaches, but it's Krypto, his loyal dog, who has tracked him across the icy wasteland. Krypto leaps toward Superman, wagging his tail, even as Superman can hardly move. With the last of his strength, Superman pleads for Krypto to take him home. They arrive at a cracked sheet of ice, where the Fortress of Solitude emerges with its crystal towers and iconic S symbol. Inside, Superman's robots rush to assist. He thanks them, but they explain that gratitude is meaningless. They were built to serve without emotion. To comfort him, they play a holographic message from his biological parents, who explain how they sent him from Krypton to Earth to save his life, expressing their love. But the message cuts out. Only part of it reached Earth. The robots inform him he has 14 broken bones and internal injuries. They recommend intense solar radiation exposure for healing and place him under sunlight. Elsewhere, Angela Spia, a metahuman working for Lex Luthor, tracks Superman but hasn't found him yet. Inside the fortress, Superman insists he's ready to return, though he's only 85% healed. Ignoring warnings, he suits up. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor launches a massive operation. Suddenly, Hammer of Bavia strikes Superman with a powerful blow. It's as if he knows Superman's every move. At that moment, a civilian named Malik Ali, who once shared food with Superman, helps him up. Lex watches it all via surveillance. Angela arrives at the fortress just in time to glimpse Superman before he vanishes. Luthor watches through hidden cameras. Hammer is revealed to be Ultraman, a robot who had posed as a national hero for years. Luthor explains Ultraman spent decades studying Superman's movements. Soon after, we see Clark Kent back at work. He receives a call from his adoptive parents and responds briefly before returning to his desk. Lois Lane teases him, and on the news, Bavia's president denies any connection to Hammer. Clark mentions he's interviewed Superman several times. Public opinion begins to turn. At Luthor Corp, Lex unveils Ultraman and the Raptors, a squad of genetically engineered superhumans. He claims Superman is a threat. Some delegates push back, noting Superman's efforts to prevent wars. Without hard proof, they dismiss Lex's warnings. That night, Lois and Clark go on a date after months apart. They discuss the Hammer situation. Lois agrees to interview Superman. During the interview, she brings up the controversy and the Secretary of Defense's investigation. Superman admits he acted alone in Bavia to save lives. Lois, under social media pressure, expresses frustration with his vague answers. He says he rarely checks social media. He opens up about his origins, how Krypton was destroyed and his parents sent him here to protect Earth. Lois argues that people fear he has a hidden agenda. Clark grows upset. Lois admits she's not great at relationships, and Clark leaves silently. Meanwhile, Luthor's team infiltrates the fortress, even though it should only respond to Superman's DNA. They destroy the service robots. Krypto tries to stop them but is subdued and taken. Luthor searches for data to damage Superman's image. In Metropolis, Otis unleashes a monster to cause chaos while Luthor extracts data. Angela works tirelessly to recover the full parental message. She eventually succeeds. The beast in Metropolis grows massive. Superman arrives just in time to save a dog. As destruction spreads, Lois watches in horror. The Justice Gang, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific join the fight and defeat the monster. Though Superman saves a crowd, no one applauds. The media has turned public sentiment against him. The recovered message is analyzed and confirmed authentic. It reveals Krypton's destruction and names Earth as Superman's new home. But it also urges him to dominate weak humans and preserve his genetic legacy, suggesting conquest. Luthor uses this to accuse Superman of planning to rule Earth. Devastated, Superman wanders alone, facing public hate. Green Lantern finds him and says the message proves he's a threat. Superman insists he never saw the second part, it was lost. Mr. Terrific argues it passed forensic tests. Superman decides to check the original recording. World leaders hold an emergency summit. The president of Bavia accuses Superman of violating their airspace and planning to enslave their people. He even claims Superman wants Bavian women for a harem. After the broadcast, the president steps into a secret portal to meet Luthor. He believes the message is fake, but Luthor says it's real. Superman's downfall is rooted in his Kryptonian heritage. At the ruined fortress, a dying robot named F tells Superman it tried to protect everything. Superman mourns its loss and realizes Krypto is missing. Furious, Superman storms into Luthor Corporation. Luthor feigns ignorance, while his girlfriend Eve live-streams their argument. Superman's anger damages his public image further. Peacemaker exploits the footage to vilify Superman. Broken, he visits Lois, who is surprised to learn about Krypto. She gives him hot chocolate. He explains that the ship malfunctioned, and he only received part of the message. Lois comforts him, warning that trusting too much in humanity might be his downfall. Clark asks about their relationship. He confesses he's considering surrendering to Luthor, hoping it'll lead him to Krypto. Lois asks why the dog means so much. Superman says he made a promise to protect Krypto and won't break it. Moved, Lois hugs him and whispers that she loves him. They part ways. The next day, Superman surrenders to Luthor's forces. They beat him mercilessly. No one reads him his rights. Colonel Flagg tells him he has none. He's not human. He's sent to a secret desert facility and imprisoned in a pocket universe created by Luthor. There, he meets prisoners held by Bavia's orders. Dissidents, whistleblowers, even Luthor's ex-girlfriends, one jailed for blogging about a breakup. Superman is placed in a cell with Rex, a shapeshifter. Luthor orders Rex to turn his hands into kryptonite, the only thing that can truly harm Superman. Rex had no choice but to obey, as Luthor was holding his son hostage in a cell within the same prison. Meanwhile, at the newspaper office, Lois was investigating Luthor Corp's involvement in Baravia's internal affairs. She uncovered that Luthor Corp had been selling weapons to Baravia at extremely low prices. Her colleague Jimmy soon arrived, reporting that an informant revealed Superman was trapped in a pocket universe. There, Luthor appeared before Superman and revealed they had captured Krypto. The dog would be used for experimentation and eventually killed, after much suffering. Luthor said Superman would never escape because the universe was his personal prison. He added that, if it were up to him, Superman would already be dead, but the government wanted to interrogate him first. Elsewhere, Jimmy met with Eve, Luthor's girlfriend, secretly feeding him intel. She claimed not to know Luthor's full plans but promised to dig deeper if Jimmy took her on a date. Before leaving, Eve confessed Luthor tortured a dog the day before and bragged about imprisoning his exes. Inside the pocket universe, a weak Superman begged Rex to move the kryptonite so he could help save Rex's son. Rex got angry and shoved it closer, intensifying Superman's pain. Meanwhile, Lois met with the Justice Gang and insisted on rescuing Superman. Mr. Terrific tracked Superman using a nano-tracker in his bloodstream, locating him in an abandoned military base. Though the signal cut off inside, he confirmed Superman was trapped in a pocket universe. Green Lantern and Hawkgirl refused to help. Frustrated, Lois insulted Green Lantern's hairstyle. Mr. Terrific agreed to help. Luthor and Vasil brought in Malik Ali, a civilian who had once helped Superman. Luthor used him as leverage. During the torture, Superman begged them not to hurt Malik and insisted he acted alone. They didn't believe him and executed Malik. Mr. Terrific and Lois arrived at the base. He quickly disabled the guards and protected Lois. They reached a tent with the portal to the pocket universe. Mr. Terrific said opening it could create a black hole. He admitted he was helping mainly to annoy Green Lantern and began decoding it. In the cell, Rex, guilt-ridden, asked Superman if he could save his son. Superman nodded. Rex dissolved the kryptonite, easing his pain. Superman said he still needed yellow sunlight to regain his strength. Mr. Terrific and Lois entered the Pocket Universe but were blocked by a river of anti-rotans. Rex said he couldn't create a sun but could simulate one with chemicals from his body. The Flash allowed Superman to regain his powers. He freed Rex's son and carried them both. As they searched for Krypto, they were ambushed near the anti-rotan river. Krypto arrived just in time to help. When Superman was nearly sucked into a black hole, Rex also jumped in, and together they escaped. Mr. Terrific helped them out before the portal closed. After escaping, Superman reunited with Lois. He said people still needed saving. Mr. Terrific offered his aircraft for safe travel. Lois and Superman visited Clark's adoptive parents. Jimmy sent photos. Behind a selfie were Luthor documents, key evidence. Meanwhile, Luthor reopened the portal to the Pocket Universe, risking a space rupture. The next day, Superman told Jonathan Kent he felt ashamed. His biological parents had sent him to Earth as a weapon. Jonathan reminded him that choices and actions define a person. Green Lantern watched war news from Baravia. Children begged for Superman's help. Mr. Terrific warned the dimensional rift must be sealed first or Earth would be destroyed. Jimmy and Lois told Perry that Luthor orchestrated everything to seize Jaranpur and crown himself king, with help from Moravian President Maisel. Neither Mr. Terrific nor Luthor Corp's team could close the rift. Luthor denied access. They launched their aircraft. Mr. Terrific said the shutdown code was stored at Luthor Corp HQ. Before Superman could retrieve it, he had to find Krypto, who had run off to avoid scaring the Kent family's cows. Ultraman appeared and dragged Superman into a stadium to fight, alongside Angela, a metahuman. Luthor ordered nanites injected into Superman while Angela filled his lungs with air. Superman was shot into space and crashed back down. Though badly hurt, he expelled the nanites. Luthor sent raptors after learning Angela was still alive. When Ultraman's mask broke, Superman saw he was a flawed clone made from his hair. Luthor ordered Ultraman to go all out. Elsewhere, a boy prayed for Superman. Superman told Luthor he'd lose. Reinforcements were coming. The Justice Gang, Rex, and his son arrived to stop the war. Perry published The Truth. The world learned Luthor started the war to justify killing Superman. Luthor admitted he hated Superman out of jealousy. Though hurt, Superman smiled and said brains beat brawn. He called Krypto and had him retrieve Luthor's surveillance orbs. Raptors arrived. Superman defeated them. When the clone returned, Superman hurled him into the black hole. He joined Mr. Terrific to close the rift and headed to Luthor Corp HQ. Superman declared he was as human as anyone. He knew love, fear, and mistakes. He hoped Luthor would understand someday. Luthor sneered, saying the government authorized him to kill Superman. Krypto lunged and attacked. Mr. Terrific cracked the code and sealed the rift. News reports exposed Luthor's crimes, including his alliance with Vassal and Baravia. The world owed Superman an apology. Superman remained the trusted hero. Luthor was arrested. All his prisoners were freed. Rex joined the Justice Gang. Eve reunited with Jimmy. Lois met Superman for a private interview, an excuse for a kiss. Superman returned to the Fortress of Solitude, now repaired by robots. He finally named Robot Number 4, Gary. Supergirl soon arrived. She was Krypto's original owner and loved partying on planets with red suns, where Kryptonians could get drunk. In the end, Superman watched messages from his human parents, remembering cherished memories, and felt truly at peace. In the post-credits scene, Superman gazed at Earth with Krypto beside him, talking to Mr. Terrific about rebuilding Metropolis after the crisis. The moral message of this movie is that true heroism is not about having great power, but about choosing compassion, integrity, and sacrifice in the face of adversity. Even when misunderstood or betrayed, standing up for what is right defines the true strength of a hero. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and see you in the next video.